What's going on, wonderful people? Today we are going to be rebuilding Ipswich Town. That is right, a team very close to my heart, and today we are going to rebuild them until we win the Premier League. Of course, a team that have been recently promoted, and today we're going to try and take them from that step all the way to the very heights of English football. If you are enjoying the rebuild so far this year, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, keep commenting below what you want to see next. I promise I am writing down all your suggestions, and they are in the queue to come up, so be sure to keep commenting. Let's get into it. So, this is going to be Ipswich Town inside of Football Manager 2024. Of course, a 3-star reputation side, 3.5-star training, 3.5-star youth, and just the 1-star youth recruitment. The finances are secure, and the owner loves the club. Now, what I have done is I've gone on an up-to-date database, and we have actually played and finished as we did in real life in second place behind Leicester. So we are going to be in the Premier League for the first season, and this is where it's going to get very, very interesting. Now, what I have done is technically, I've not made any signings with an actual budget, because when you use this database, the budget is not realistic. For example, we literally would have £0. Now, of course, in real life, if you get promoted to the Premier League, you don't have £0 to spend. So I brought in the players who have been heavily, strongly linked or have confirmed a signing. So you can see them right now. We'll go through a couple. So this is going to be the team and the tactic I'm going to be using to start with for that first season. Delap is a player who is pretty much confirmed, and a player who I think is going to absolutely cook for Ipswich Town. So we've got him in, made him a player at the club until 2026, because that way it does mean that he could leave, obviously make it a little bit more realistic. Realistically, I don't want to lock these players in for too long. This has happened in real life, so Hutchinson is now at the club until 2025 on the permanent. I believe as well that is the same case in real life, so hopefully, or maybe 2026 actually, but we've got him for a year, and obviously we are going to look to extend it if he does play well. The next player is going to be another confirmed player, and I believe the last actual player I have decided to bring in, that is going to be Greaves, Jacob Greaves, coming in from Hull City. That is now confirmed, I believe, so we're going to have him in this team as well. And to be honest, we've got a very, very good team. Now, I'm going to try this tactic in the first season, but it's very bold going in with a higher defensive line, but sometimes even against the big teams, going in with that aggressive nature does work really, really well. And of course, actually, Johnson is the next player who actually has been confirmed as well, which is not a bad player to bring in as well, a reasonably decent, good quality Premier Division fullback. So I'm hoping with the likes of Hutchinson, Delap, obviously very strong midfield for the Championship. We'll see what it does in the Premier League. Obviously, decent centre-back partnership. Leif Davis is absolutely incredible, so hopefully we can get the most out of him as well. I am a real big fan of this guy. I cannot stress that enough. So let's hopefully, we've got good wingers as well. Let's hopefully get into the first season. We can't really see what we're playing in, so obviously we're technically in the last season, but it would be the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. So let's get into season 1 with this team, with a few signings technically, and see what we can do. So we're going to start off with the Carabao Cup, where we actually bail out in the third round of the FA Cup, or Carabao Cup, sorry, against Newcastle in 5-1 fashion. Now, I will say, I don't mind losing to Newcastle, but 5-1 feels like a bit of an obliteration, a bit of an embarrassment, and it does make me worried for what we have done in the league, because that's quite a statement game from Newcastle. The FA Cup's a little bit more positive, though, into the quarterfinals, where unfortunately we are going to lose to Aston Villa, but only 2-1, so a lot more competitive in that regard. And I will say, Harry Clark actually being the third best performer and only getting to the quarterfinals, so that is quite interesting to see. But let's go and see what we've done in the Premier League. Wow, okay, that's actually a really good season. It is going to be a 10th place finish, which is the first season in Premier League football is to try and survive, right? That's the only aim we've got. And the funny thing is, we've actually finished above Newcastle, who obviously absolutely battered us in that cup. But a very, very good, strong season, in my opinion. 10th place first season. I'll take it any day of the week. What I will say is the likes of Leif Davis, 13 assists, so joint top assist in the league. That showcases what he can do. Now, I will be honest, in terms of stats, I don't really think we're going to be too in the rankings for much of it at all. Not really, so not from really too much to talk about there. But as a general rule, we can see a mixed set of results here. I mean, the friendlies went incredibly well. We actually beat Newcastle 3-0 in our first Premier League game. Aston Villa dismantled us. We beat Leicester 5-0. That's quite good to see. 5-1 again, that was the 5-1 game. 4-0 against Arsenal. Chelsea and Tottenham back-to-backs, never nice. We beat Forest, we beat Wolves, we beat Lincoln, West Brom. An awful month there, a really bad month there, until we play Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup. Beat Fulham it's a first Premier League season. It's not going to be pretty in terms of the stats. Let's just be realistic. But going into the goal scorers then, it is going to be 18 for Liam Delap, the new man. And I will say, the squad is looking pretty small. And I do obviously let the assistant deal with the contracts if I can't deal with them before the game starts. And obviously now, we are on sort of the next season database. So a lot of players appear to have either left or just simply gone on the free. So we'll have to bring in a fair few faces. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we've got a big budget. 18 goals and a player out on loan, who, to be fair, I might even give a shot when he comes back because he's scoring goals. 10 for Connor Chaplin, 996. Of course, it is going to be a decline. Leif Davis enjoying a fantastic season with 15 assists and actually being the player of the team, to be honest with you, I believe. It is going to be that. Absolutely incredible stuff to see. But the real question is, how much money have we got? Because we're going to need, and I'm sorry, I don't want to be all picky, I want at least £80 million. Okay, you ask and you'll receive. £84 million. I was trying to edge that a little bit and be a little bit sort of cocky. 60 million would have been fine, but 84 million we can do. We can bring in sort of 5 to 6 players, hopefully, with that sort of money, or 2 to 3 real good standout players. Looking at the team, we need to bring in players because we have got... Oh my God, we haven't got a goalkeeper. What? We haven't got a goalkeeper. We have not got a goalkeeper. We haven't got a goalkeeper. Okay, so we need to sign 2 goalkeepers or 1 goalkeeper. Please, for the love of God, tell me we have got a goalkeeper in the under-21s. We do, who must have played, right? He did. He played 20 games. He played 20 games in the Premier League. We're going to promote him to the first team. Let's get into the second transfer window. Jesus Christ. The first player is going to be Ivo Gribic, coming in from Sheffield United. A good goalkeeper. That is what we're after. And to be honest, there wasn't too many goalkeepers that were actually that interested in joining. So that's usually the case for a 10th place Premier League team. He looks very good. Technically a good Sky Bet Championship player, but miles better than what we had before. He sent me back £23 million, but that is what you pay for somewhat of an experienced goalkeeper who obviously has played with some pretty decent teams. I've never signed this guy, but Iwick looks absolutely incredible. He is rapid at right back. Also, I will say, not half bad with the tackling, but he's only 24 years of age, so we can improve on him, and he will probably get into the first team just like that. Of course, because of how good he is, you are going to pay the money in £21 million, but don't forget, we got given a pretty tasty budget, and both of these signings so far have been paid out for all in one sum. No instalments yet. That is a big right back. The next player we're going to bring in is going to be Alan Valesco, coming in from FC Dallas. This guy just looks nuts. I mean, not the quickest winger, but similar to like a... I'm not comparing him to him, but a bit like a Musiala, the cutting in, the dribbling. That is what he offers, and I think he is going to be one of our best options by quite some distance, to be honest. He sent me back £15 million, which is not too bad, to be honest. Of course, we have got to allocate a space to him to actually play in the league, but he is worth it, man. He looks really good. Amad Diallo. We got him on the free. We did not spend a single penny on this lad, and yes, he's a leading Sky Bet League 1 player, but he has got the potential to become a good Premier League player, and considering he's on 29 grand a week, which is nothing really compared to the money we've just been given, and he sent me back a grand total of £0, welcome in Amad Diallo. Signing, that is going to be João Gomez, coming in from Wolverhampton. Obviously a very good Premier League player, and a player already who's a decent Premier League player at the age of 24. The reason I signed him, versatility, incredibly well-rounded. He did send me back £30 million, but for a player of that age and that sort of quality, I'll pay it. A bit of a throwback now, because there was a time where this guy looked like the next sort of hot prospect. That is going to be Tanganga, an absolute unit on the ball and off the ball. And I thought, do you know what? Again, the reason why we got him in is to really add numbers to the team. He's coming in on the free. Is he going to be an incredible Premier League player? No. Is he going to be a good backup option? Potentially. And he's only on 23 grand a week. He's got Premier League experience, played in the German league as well. I thought for the players that were interested and were on the free, he's one of the better options. We needed to really strengthen that back line though, but it was hard to attract decent Premier Division players, which is why we've gone for someone like Andrew as well. A good Sky Bet Championship player who obviously can become a good Premier Division player. When you're a team like this, you have to be willing to sign a step below to make them to the step you want to be. And this guy offers a real good amount to be fair. He's very quick, he's got good composure, he's got good tackling, he's naturally quick. He's just a bit of a pacey centre-back, to be honest. And again, his wage isn't absolutely outrageous, and his price tag wasn't too bad either. We actually got a one less £1 million spent on them than what Nottingham Forest paid from Norwich. So we didn't get ripped off. And again, he's a player who might not be, you know, a Ruben Diaz or a Virgil van Dijk right now, but in a few years, who's to say he can't be? He's still very young. Welcome in to Andrew. And I can't resist a freebie. We are going to bring in Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Obviously a player who, if you play Football Manager, you've probably signed on the free before, because why not? He looks semi-decent. His wage isn't too outrageous. And again, he cost me literally nothing. Not really too much to talk about this guy as an individual, but he just simply adds numbers to that back line. I'll take another Manchester United winger on the free, just to showcase that as well. That is going to be Palestri coming in. And again, similar to Amad Diallo, a player who has got the potential there. At the moment, not had a great time in the game, but hopefully we can change that. There is no danger getting players in on the free, especially when their wages aren't too much, considering we could sell him for easily £12-20 million without spending a single penny. So they are going to be your transfers. And as you can see, we've actually had no players going out, apart from this page, obviously, which was last season, technically. So we've had a lot of players just randomly dip, but we have built up the squad again quite well, in my opinion. The team now looks a little bit like this, sorted by the best 11. We've got Gribic, we've got Van Ewijk, we've got Harwood-Bellis, Wolfenden, Davis, João Gomez, Morsey, Diallo, Chaplin, Valesco, and Hurst up front. And the bench also has got some of the names we obviously signed. Now, in my opinion, we definitely have got a little bit better in terms of the squad. The squad still could be a little bit bigger, in my opinion, in some areas, but I'm pretty sure we've covered a lot of the areas. So goalkeeper, we've got a backup. Right back, we've got 2 backups. Left back, we've got a kind of a backup in a centre back, so maybe that's the only position, although, oh no, the right back can't play there. Wolfenden, Bellis, we've got Clark, Tanganga. We've got players there, Jacob Greaves as well. We've got Gomez and Morsey. We've got Clark, we've got Luongo, we've got Humphreys, we've got Jack Taylor. Diallo, we've obviously got a lot of winger options, so that's fine. Chaplin. We've got Hutchinson, I didn't even see him down there. We've got Hutchinson in the team as well. And Hurst now, of course, we've got Delap. We've got Ladapo, who obviously I will try and move on. But we have got a player who can play in each position, even as a rotation player. So maybe the squad is completely fine. Now, what I will say is we are playing in the same 3 competitions, and they are going to be predicting a finish of around about 18th place. Now, for me, although we've just finished 10th place, we have lost a lot of our players that got us there, brought in a load of new faces. Usually that first season is a bit of a settle-in season. I'm going to go with a 14th place finish. Let's go and see what we can do. So times might be changing. This is a Premier League game, just to, you know, avoid any cup spoilers. We are going to go through against Man City inside of 30 minutes and make it 1-0. And Man City seem to be quite exploited, to be honest, in some stages of the game, as we are now going to make it 2-0 in 40 minutes. Unfortunately, Man City are never too far away from a goal. Jeremy Doku makes it 2-1 in 51 minutes, and they get back into the game, you know, wrapping it up 2-2 there with a great ball from Foden. Ake gets the goal. But look here, we are now beating teams like Man City. What is going on? Results like that mean stuff like this. We have pushed ourselves up 3 places in one season, from 10th to 7th, only 4 points away from the top 6 as well. We haven't got anyone in the stats apart from Leif Davis again with the second most amount of assists, and I would imagine going over to this, we are going to have the most shots for, which is 1 stat, and the 3rd top goal scorer. We're outscoring Arsenal, United, Chelsea, all of these teams. We are putting on a really good display here, so that is a big amount of progression in one season. Now, the cups, they weren't too pretty, to be honest. We will just make sure we didn't get battered by Arsenal in the 4th round, was that? It was in the 4th round. The 5th round, sorry, it was. I appear to be blind. A 2-0 defeat, nothing too bad. And obviously the 3rd round by Hull City. Please tell me we didn't get battered by Hull City. It is a bit of a battering, 3-1, but I got to stay positive. We are 7th place. We're making progress, and I would imagine that would also mean it's similar. Again, very similar to obviously what we done with, it was Sunderland the other day. When you first start with teams like this, you always rely on one player. Our player is probably the unexpected man. That is going to be George Hurst, a player who I've not really talked about too much, but he's getting the job done. 16 goals, 15 for Chaplin, 9 for Valesco, Palestri with 8. I will say the new players not really doing too much, which is quite worrying, to be honest. Leif Davis is really thriving. And to be fair, the right back as well. Milan coming in and contributing with 9 assists there as well. Velasco okay, but the best player overall is going to be, not these two didn't play too much, it will go down to, I believe, it would have potentially been Harry Clark, because I imagine he played quite a fair few games, so it's okay. But again, it's hard to look at these stats and get too excited, but then I've got to be realistic. We are a 7th place team. Now, we have been given a budget of what? Oh, been given a budget of £90 million, which I can work with. I like giving a big budget like that. 90 mil we can spend. And I check, as I always check, our weakness. We are the 3rd best at scoring and the 6th best at conceding. So technically, based off that, the goal scorer isn't actually too bad at all. The goals conceded is a little bit worse. Not too bad, but we are going to maybe even strengthen the back line some more. So let's get into the 3rd transfer window after a big improvement in season number 2 and see what we can do. I'm going to wave goodbye to Nathan Broadhead. His time at Ipswich Town is done. Thank you, but goodbye. He's going to go to Crystal Palace for 5.5 million. Also going to wave goodbye to Wes Burns. He is 31 years of age now, and to be honest, is not going to get in the team any longer. He is going to be going to Coventry on loan. I've decided to bolster the defence with one man alone. That is going to be Tom Roth. Now, there might be another side in the back line, but this guy, I think, is already the player we need because he can cover centre-back as well. Now, Leif Davis has been very, very good, but I'm a big advocate of having competition for every position on the pitch to fight for. It makes the players better, and genuinely, this guy can do that. He's not as quick as Leif Davis, potentially, but he's got one hell of a cross on him. He's young, and obviously he's played for Borussia Dortmund, a big team, and had a little stint at Hull City as well, so he has played some level of English football as well. He did set me back a grand total of £90 million, but for a player like this, worth 52 to 69 million? Don't think it's too bad. Goalkeeper was not hacking it in the Prem. Now, I have spent big, and I have used instalments. I am sorry. Say what you want, I have used instalments to bring in a goalkeeper who I have not signed in a long time. That is going to be Moulier, a goalkeeper from Leeds for £70 million, a £65 million profit for them, by the way. You pay so much money for good quality keepers, and you pay so much money for young goalkeepers. You combine the both, you pay this sort of price tag. But this is a goalkeeper we've got for the entire rebuild now. So if you're going to carry on back home by obviously going over to the Patreon, getting the save file, you're going to have a goalkeeper for your future as well as my future in the meantime. So welcome in to one of the better goalkeepers in the game. The next 3 signings are free, £0 spent. The first one is going to be Mariba, coming in from RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig, a team very close to my heart, and it is going to be just simply on the free, nothing too expensive. Does he look incredible? Not really. Does he look okay? Yeah. And for the free player, rotation, depth, welcome in. Now, this is actually quite a needed signing because apart from obviously George Hurst, our strikers aren't really cutting the mustard. Now, this guy was available on the free. He's a decent Premier League striker. He's absolutely rapid. He's got good aggression. He's got good determination, obviously good strength, good pace. His finishing and composure, we are going to put a little, train with him a little bit because it could do with a little bit of work, but overall, he looks okay. He can probably score a few goals in the season, cost me literally nothing, and his wage isn't too bad either. So welcome in to Nzola. A go-to signing of mine, I love a Turkish player, that is going to be Demiral, coming in from the Saudi League on the free, taking one big pay cut in terms of wages, although being paid 115 grand to play at Ipswich Town. He's just a very solid centre-back, 18 tackling, 16 marking. He's not the quickest in terms of acceleration, pace is good, but getting off the line, not the best of the best, so really, he does rely on that very good concentration levels, just to be quite tightly marked to the player, so he's going to be partnered alongside of a quicker centre-back to make the ultimate centre-back pairing. Spent big. There were several players I wanted for this position, but this is a player who wanted to join and was approachable. That is going to be Reina. Obviously, the American. He's something back £35 million, but he's only 23 years of age, can play on the left, can play on the right, can play in the middle, a good Premier League player, and he could improve a lot. So signing for the future once again. He's reasonably quick. He's got good dribbling, good sort of okay finishing, depending on where you're playing him. For me, he's going to play him through the middle. I don't really want him having shots, so it's completely fine. Passing's there as well. He's got a good first touch, good technique. He's basically the perfect cam or attacking midfield player, in my opinion, and he's going to come in the team with no questions asked. And that's going to complete every single signing being done. As you can see, a couple more players there going out, obviously, from the team, but we have introduced yet again a lot of new faces, and the team now looks a little bit like this. Filtered by the best 11, it is going to be Moulier, we've got Van Ewijk, we've got Demiral, Wolfenden, Roth, Gomez, Morsi, Diallo, Reina, Velasco, and Nzola up front. Now, Davis, I'm hoping will compete with the left back because I brought this guy in purely for competition and for backup, and it is very important we've got good quality, not only on the bench, but also the team that obviously are going to be going out there and trying to bring us home 3 points. So that's why I brought in such a strong left back. Now, I am hoping this team can carry on the progression. What I will say is, it's you know, we are playing in the Europa League, so it's one more competition. I didn't even realise this last season, but it's now 4 competitions. Never easy at all when you add one more competition going in. Obviously, the progression is literally going like this at the moment, so a lot of pressure. They are predicting a 14th place finish. Now, I will say it's going to be very hard to beat 7th place with another competition, but all we can do is go into it and see exactly how we perform. Can't quite believe what I've seen. We are in a European final against Napoli, and we are 1-0 up inside of 1 minute and 26 seconds. Unfortunately, they get back into the game in the 89th minute with a bit of a direct approach. Connor Chaplin, a place in my heart, he is going to go through and win us a European trophy. We do drop down, but it really does not matter because we have won a European trophy. I'm living in cuckoo land at the moment because we've got Champions League football in 3 seasons. I mean, that is absolutely mental. Yes, we've dropped down. Yes, it was very close. What I will say is there's some teams in this save so far that are making a bit of a name for themselves. Nottingham Forest having a good time. Sheffield United were actually having a blinder of a season towards the start. I will say that, so they're cooking up a storm over there. But overall, yes, we've dropped 2 places, but we have got Champions League and we have won the Europa League, not the conference, the Europa League against Napoli. That is an incredible achievement. Nzola, the 3rd top goal scorer, that signing clearly worked. Reina, the 1st most joint amount of assists alongside of Savio and James Maddison. I am absolutely loving this rebuild so far. The English Cups, we're not having a great time. I'll keep it real with you. The 3rd round in Manchester City, that is not going to be a great time, I wouldn't imagine. Not too bad, just a 3-2 defeat, so nothing too embarrassing. And the quarterfinals here by Leicester. If we wouldn't have won a trophy, I might have been a little bit more annoyed, but I really couldn't care, to be honest. So it is going to be our first trophy, obviously apart from the championship, which obviously we did actually sort of sim with the database, so it doesn't really count. So our first trophy is going to be a European trophy, which is absolutely mental. I would imagine we've been given a pretty nice budget as well. It's okay. 50 million's okay, considering what we got given the last couple of seasons and what players really turned up then, because someone's turned up, and there is going to be 30 goals for, yeah, this is why you bring in these names. Nzola, 30 goals. Reina, 22 and 15. 20 and 11 for Valesco. He is finally coming into his own as a Premier League player. Nzola, an incredible player, enjoying a great stint of football. Reina as well, the same story can be told. We are now contributing a whole lot. A whole lot. Now, the big debate, what we all want to see is left backs. What has happened then? So, 7 assists. Where is Davis? 4. So I imagine Rofe did play more than him overall. But at the end of the day, that's why there's competition. And clearly, bringing in players like this has helped because we're winning European trophies. But overall, if we're not to the dynamics, if we actually go into the tactics, we can go and have a little look right now. So I did remove the high defensive line, just to clarify that as well. And we are going to play about with this tactic once again going into the 4th transfer window, because obviously you might bring in players that want to play a different position, etc, etc. But the best team going into the 4th transfer window is going to be looking like this. Moulier, Van Iwik, Demiro, Wolfenden, Rofe, Gomez, Morsey, Diallo, Reina, Velasco, and Nzola. Now, it's a very strong team. Is it perfect? Can it win a Premier League? I don't know if it can win a Premier League. Morsey, no. Wolfenden, no. The rest of them, potentially. Even Nzola, who's just had a banger of a season, is he a Premier League winning striker? I don't know. So let's get into Season 4 after an incredible Season 3 with the transfer window. So we're focused more on quality than quantity on this transfer window, because we're now trying to take a team that just won the European Division, or European Division title, to then push them up higher up the Premier League into the top 4 naturally. That is going to be Orkun Koshu, coming in from Benfica. He did cost me a grand total of £52 million, which is a lot of money on one player, but just look at him, man. He looks so well-rounded. He is on a fair whack per week as well. But for a player like this, the versatility, how well-rounded he is, this is going to be one hell of a player. We've also bolstered the midfield once again. Obviously, the midfield was the biggest weakness, as I discussed, looking over the tactic. Yuri Tielemans, a player with endless Premier League experience with Leicester, with Villa, obviously previously in Monaco and Anderlecht. He is now 30, which is why it explains the very cheap price tag. But for the next couple of seasons, obviously there's a 5-season limit, spending that money for an experienced Premier League player, not too bad. This is where I see the comments, because I have rolled the dice and I've taken a gamble. He's developed really nicely. He's not happy at Chelsea. I have gone and instalment signed a total of 60 million for Nicholas Jackson. But please hear me out. He's quick, good agility, fantastic dribbling, great technique, good finishing, okay composure, still semi-young, good Premier Division player, and he can play on the right, the left, in the middle, up front. There's so many positives to this individual. That is why I've signed him. Of course, it's a gamble, but welcome in Nicholas Jackson. Can't quite believe I'm saying that, to be honest. But now, of course, the team looks a little bit like this. Moulier, we've got Van, Demira, Wolfenden, Rofe, Gomez, Tielemans, Reina, Koshu, Valesco, and Jackson. The bench is looking really, really strong now as well. Of course, because of the new players coming in. I am very excited to get into this 4th season. And hopefully Jackson doesn't let me down. I think I am going to play him as an advanced forward, though. Use his pace really effectively. But we are playing, of course, now in 5 competitions, and they're not easy ones with the additional ones. The Super Cup, the Champions League, of course, are the extras. The FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Premier League are the ones we were playing in. But overall, it's an extra task at hand, and hopefully one we can hack. But let's get into Season 4, and let's just open the Champions League, shall we? So first up, the Super Cup against PSG, where we come out and actually beat Paris Saint-Germain, and look who scored. And then the FA Cup final, we are going to win it against Chelsea in the 80th minute, and look who got the goal against his former team, Nicholas Jackson. You know what? For the first Champions League debut, a quarter-final appearance is more than acceptable. We are going to lose, but it's an okay run. The World Cup really has not gone our way so far this rebuild, and it is going to be a 4-2 defeat against Tottenham. But overall, once again, these cups just aren't going our way. But I mean, so far so good. And the Premier League, a 4th place finish. So we have actually got Champions League football from actually finishing in top 4 this time. And I'm actually quite surprised, considering the extra competitions. It is always a very tough sort of gig when you are playing extra football. But the main man that has really turned this around is going to be Koshu, I think. The most amount of assists out of anybody in the Premier League. Moulier, the joint most amount of clean sheets as well. And I would now imagine we are going to get very close. So 5th place when it comes to the fewest conceded. 4th place when it comes to the clean sheets. Goals being scored we are not on, which is slightly concerning. So let's go and have a little look. But overall, as a debrief, 4th place, Super Cup winners, FA Cup winners, the Carabao Cup. So we are winning English trophies, just not the Carabao Cup. But the squad, we are looking at 25 goals from Nicholas Jackson. So a bit of a drop off from 30 from last season. From, I forgot who it was now. It was from, obviously, I forgot him. I forgot his name. Remind me in the comments. The striker we brought in on the free. I've got to look myself now, because I will lose my head. Is he not in the team anymore? Nzola, there he is. 25 goals, 16 for Koshu, Chaplin with 11, who, by the way, Chaplin's sort of been under the radar a little bit. I've not sold him, because he's been popping up with a few goals and assists, so he's staying in the team. 11 and 7 for Velasco, 7 and 3 for Reina, Tielemans 5 and 3, 20, 12, it's okay. It's okay. Realistically, Jackson's come in, done what I needed him to do. He's scored 2 very important goals in 2 cup finals, and obviously been the top goal scorer out of anyone as well. So it's a good signing so far, but of course, nowhere near perfection. Now, what I will say is, we've got one last season to try and win the Premier League. I don't know what it is with these teams like Sunderland, Ipswich Town. We're pushing our boundaries and going into the last season, back-to-back videos now. I love a challenge, but Jesus, we are making it hard on ourselves. Now, of course, the budget is everything going into the last window, and we have got £65 million to go and spend, which is an okay amount of money. Realistically, we could sell some players as well, but let's get in to Season 5 transfers. We've got to go big, because this is our last season to make the challenge complete. So we are going to wave goodbye to Wolfenden. Now, to be honest, it wasn't necessarily my decision, but he wanted to leave, and when you get an offer for £12 million, you take it. And the first signing, again, to add more depth to the midfield is going to be Keita, coming in from Antwerp on the free, I will say. A player valued between 37 and 40 million. Incredibly well-rounded. Probably better off playing deeper than what he is sort of centrally. But again, he cost me literally nothing. Why not welcome him in? This might not be a man you would ever expect to see in an Ipswich Town shirt, but when you can get him for a grand total of 31 million, we're going to welcome in a 28-year-old João Felix. Now, yes, he is older than what obviously he could potentially be back in the day, but Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Chelsea and Benfica, when you play for them clubs, you're welcome at Ipswich Town. Let me tell you that. He is absolutely incredible. The perfect player to play through the middle, or potentially even up top for a game. He's not the quickest, but again, Musiala vibes. Great dribbling, great first touch, great technique, great passing, good off the ball, good flair, good composure. He is the perfect attacking midfield player. Welcome in, João. I've really gone out and bolstered centre-back wise now and potentially built an absolute rock powerhouse at the back. We are going to welcome in Jarrad Braithwaite, coming in from Newcastle on this occasion, previously of Everton, and we've actually paid £2.5 million less than what Newcastle paid. We all know how good this guy is in real life, and I'm hoping a little bit of that can rub off inside of the game. And we are going to welcome in Pavlovic coming in from Chelsea. Again, a very good player. Sets me back £31 million. But he, again, 27 years of age, experience, plays for Chelsea, Salzburg, some decent teams in his time. Again, not the quicker. So we have got to make sure we are getting this pairing right between quicker centre-backs and slower centre-backs. But honestly, this guy looks like the real deal. And welcome in to what is going to be our final signing of this rebuild. We have signed some incredible players over the past. As you can see here, some of the business we have done, we have not held back at all. So I'm hoping over these years we have strengthened. This is going to be the final team going into that last window. And I will say again, or the last actual season, if you do want to use this team, you want to carry on the rebuild, you can come over to the Patreon and get that file and get the tactic and also everything else. There's like 13 exclusive perks. So make sure you're coming over and getting involved. But overall, this is going to be a full send into the last season. Moulier, Van Ewijk, Demirel, Pavlovic, Roth, Gomez, Keita, Reina, Koshu, Felix, Jackson. That's a team that can lift the Premier League title. I am confident. I am very confident. We are playing in 5 competitions: the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield. And they are predicting a finish of 9th place. Let's go. Let's go and win the Premier League. The FA Cup final. Let's roll it back again, shall we? This time it is going to be against Liverpool, and we get off to a very good start. Rofe in the box into Velasco, who is, you know, elements of Messi in that goal. I will be saying that. Unfortunately for us, Liverpool do come back with Doak, who is going to get the goal there to make it 1-1. We then go with Chaplin into Gomez, through into João Felix to get the sort of the winner, potentially, but you know, it's Liverpool. They're not going to give up easy. It's going to be their young wonder kid into Joe Gomez, who wraps it off. It then goes past extra time to penalties. Koshu steps up, 1-0 there. McAllister, 1-1. Good penalty so far. Felix, cracking penalty. Darwin Núñez, shocking penalty. That is going to be, obviously, where they go wrong. And what is the delay? Tielemans steps, great penalty. It is going to be Panfundi steps, misses. It's over. FA Cup, back-to-back. Quarterfinals is going to be the best you're going to see from this video, as we failed to get past it even in this season. Unfortunately, Arsenal a little bit too much. Community Shield again, an almost thing, an almost a 3-2 defeat to Man City. Carabao Cup, we just can't clinch we can't do anything in this competition. We are going to lose 2-0 to Liverpool. But we are your Premier League champions, and boy, it was close. It was very, very close. And I will say, Southampton, Sheffield have cooked up a storm, and I might go and have a little look, actually, what they've been cooking up. But overall, a very, very strong season. And I will say, we've got this job done without actually really having any standout players. Now, I will say this means that one thing, I'm hoping it means a really strong season from everyone, but we've completed the challenge, and that is going to be a Premier League, an FA Cup, well, that's it actually, a Premier League and an FA Cup. But overall, of course, for this team, we have gone and we have added to them a Premier League title, a couple of FA Cups, a European trophy as well, a Super Cup. We have done well. For the last season, this is a little bit better. 26-24. Koshu, really the standout man. We've got João Felix, 10 and 10. 10 and 14 for Connor Chaplin, who is still performing, by the way, at the age of 32. A good, well-rounded season. Not as good as what we have done in past rebuilds. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but I have left you with a very good team. A team that is offering you 72, more than that, £88 million, and this team. Now, I'm going to set you the challenge to win the Champions League in 3 additional seasons. Go over to the Patreon, get the rebuild file. If you love FM, you'll love a challenge. And as always, guys, if you have enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. In my opinion, we got the job done, so I've passed the rebuild test. Have a great rest of your day.